Welcome back, everybody, to the Birdies and Bourbon Show. We're happy to have Tim Piersant from Chattanooga Whiskey on with us today. Tim, cheers.
Cheers. Thanks for having me on, dudes.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we appreciate you. Thanks for sending the samples. Great product placement, by the way, for those of you that are watching on YouTube. For those that are just listening, let's see. So Dan and I are going to be trying the Chattanooga Whiskey 111 and the Chattanooga Whiskey 91. I'm assuming we should start with the 91 and then go. We haven't tried anything yet, other than I sent Dan some samples, so it'll be first time for us. But and then Tim, what'd you say you were going to be drinking with us?
Well, I have here one of our experimental single barrels that is only exclusively released out of our experimental whiskey distillery. This is barrel number 78. And we only do a few experimental single barrels a year, but we'll get into the details of what makes it special. But it's a very different product than what you have there, because what I have is produced off of our 100-gallon pot still, and it's just the production aspect, and just the whole system produces a very different flavor profile, although it is, one of our Tennessee high malt recipes. So.
Gotcha. Okay, so before we get started, we always like to go, I wouldn't say it's non-traditional anymore, but maybe something out of not industry related. So I was thinking about what do I want to know about Tim? So if you're inviting a guest or guests over to your house for the first time, not business related, let's say it's friendly, just met, and what are you serving them?
Chattanooga whiskey.
And are we going to eat, or are we just drinking all night?
If we're going to eat, it's not going to be anything that I prepare. So
there you go.
Let's see here. No, man. I got to support. We'll get something from. I live actually in downtown Chattanooga, and we have some awesome restaurants here. So I'll get something from one of our great restaurant options.
Yeah, down on Warehouse Row, right?
What's that?
Down on Warehouse Row.
It could be from Warehouse Row. It could be yeah. I'm only about a mile and a half from there, but between my house and there, there's 20 great restaurant options, all locally owned. All got great bourbon selections. But what you get at my house that you don't get anywhere else is I have an almost 10-year collection of Chattanooga whiskeys. So,
sweet.
You get to, if you really want to go through the history of Chattanooga whiskey from a taste profile perspective, I can make that happen.
So what you're saying is we're spending the night.
Yeah, he started off with that special barrel they do like a couple times a year, and he said, I'm going to add one. I'm going to add one here.
Oh, yeah. No, I heard him. I see where he's going with us. I see where he's going. So throwing those teasers out already. But no, that's cool. So, Tim, let's get into this thing, and let's talk about what is Chattanooga whiskey. So I'm originally from East Tennessee, so kind of the Tri-Cities area. And Chattanooga, for those that are listening, if you've been to Chattanooga, maybe I would say if it's been 15 years since you've been to Chattanooga, you wouldn't realize you were in Chattanooga if you showed up there today. Wow. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah.
Other than the aquarium.
Yeah, I would say so. It's sorry, I'm in a neighborhood with lots of kids and whatnot happening.
No, all good
here. Yeah, so it is. It's changed a lot, and it's been cool to be in the middle of the revitalization. So I was born and raised in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and my parents live here. My brother lives here. Sorry, guys, we've got so much noise around. Do I need to go? I should probably go inside, shouldn't I? We cool?
Yeah. It's up to you, man. Yeah, we're good.
Well, hey, you're getting the sights in this, or not the sights, but you're getting the sounds of downtown Chattanooga, right?
As long as it doesn't cost extra, we're fine.
We're good.
Right on. Well, so yeah. Anyways, man, it's been really cool. The aquarium was built in the early '90s, and that was a big turn because of the basically the revitalization of the riverfront, and then that really began to capture the essence of Chattanooga, which is, it's the landscape, and it's a beautiful spot in Southeast Tennessee, and really a beautiful spot of the country. And so I went to Auburn University, and I finished in 2004. I met my wife there, and then we moved downtown in 2005. So in 2005, it was still really like at the beginning of the revitalization in downtown anyway, because even though the aquarium had been around for 10 years, there's still the food and bev scene was not, it hadn't really developed yet. My wife and I, we moved downtown into a neighborhood that hadn't really been developed yet, or it was an older neighborhood. And so when we wanted to go out on a date night, where we went for date night was Chili's.
Oh yeah, right.
We wanted the 2-for-1 for date night, right?
Right.
And but we're still in the same house, and the neighborhood has just blown up around us, and the options are incredible now. Like the food and bev options.
Sure.
Every Friday and Saturday night, we walk out. We go get our we have our food of choice and our bev of choice. It's pretty awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, I love Chattanooga. Again, if people that are listening, if you haven't been, I would kind of equate it to like a Savannah, but maybe more like Charleston. If you've been kind of the historic area of Charleston, I mean that's what Chattanooga has turned into, and had a blast. That's where I met my girlfriend was in Chattanooga, and she was there for quite some time, and she's obviously here in Atlanta with me now. But yeah, I love it, man. It's fantastic. So back to Chattanooga whiskey.
Yeah.
So I was obviously I tried the first release. We don't have to get into too much of the history of that if you don't want to. But I think it was like Chattanooga 1856. Is that right?
1816.
16. Okay, and the significance was the year, right?
Yeah, it was the first community in Chattanooga.
Oh,
so it was on. It was when Ross's Landing, basically when Chief John Ross landed on Ross's Landing, which is the Chattanooga Riverfront, in 1816. So
got it. Yeah, and then I was at your tasting room, and I think it was, and this has probably been, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago or so. It would have still been 1816 at that point, right?
Yes. So we established the Chattanooga Whiskey Experimental Distillery in 2015, and we did not have our own product yet. That's when we started distilling.
Yeah.
So I mean, it took us several years to change laws and get to that point. So finally establishing that, and yeah, we still had 1816, which was originally sourced from MGP in Lawrenceburg, Indiana.
Yeah. And then maybe I'm ahead of myself. So why are you making whiskey to begin with? I mean, and you mentioned it, right? So you talked about the laws, and I've definitely read up about, I mean, you guys were really some trailblazers, and anybody that knows, it's kind of Tennessee, old school Bible Belt South, and, laws are what laws are, especially as it relates to alcohol and things like that. I mean, you got some people that are pretty steadfast in their thinking, and, just change is hard anywhere you go. But, in particular, I know you guys had quite a struggle, in just being able to do what you're doing right now, right? And getting those laws passed. You want to unpack that a little bit?
Yeah. So the reason that we started Chattanooga Whiskey was because of the history of whiskey in Chattanooga pre-Prohibition. So from 1866 to 1915, there was a really deep distilling history in downtown Chattanooga. And our mission was to bring that back. But we really wanted to bring it back. We didn't just want to capitalize on the name of Chattanooga for the sake of doing it. And no, it wasn't like our great-grand, Pappy's recipe or anything like that. It was truly because we wanted to, bring that history of distilling back to downtown, but it was illegal to do it. It was illegal to distill not just in Chattanooga, but in the majority of the state of Tennessee in 2011 when we started. So we had to source a bourbon, and we chose Lawrenceburg Distillers, which is now known as MGP, yep, to be our source. It was a 3-grain bourbon. It was an award-winning bourbon, and it was a great product to get started with. And so then, we launched Tennessee, Georgia, and South Carolina in 2012, and then off we went to begin our campaign. And we created a campaign called the Vote Whiskey Campaign, basically to raise awareness and to drive or galvanize support locally. And we didn't think it was going to take as long as it did, but it took us until 2013 to get those laws changed. And so then when finally in 2013 we got those laws passed, it did really change the distilling industry for all of Tennessee, not just Chattanooga. Sure. At that point we had less than 5 distilleries, and then after we changed the laws, since then we've actually now have more than 35 distilleries in Tennessee. So it's actually been a huge economic driver, and it has had big tourism impact, and it's had agricultural impact. So that was a cool thing to spearhead, and it's a cool part of our history. But in my opinion, the law changing side of things. So there's the history of whiskey in Chattanooga, then there's the law changing side of things. And the law changing side of things, yeah, it's an important part of our past, because we wouldn't be here without it, and we wouldn't be here without the community supporting us. And it kind of set our path as trailblazers. But the part that I believe is the more interesting part and the more important part of our story is what we did after the laws changed. Because instead of, we had the option, and I think, you see a lot of labels out there that are outsourced.
Yep.
And then of the few that are not outsourced, the few that are outsourced, I would say actually the lower percentage of labels that are outsourced, and those companies are trying to distill themselves at some point in time. They are, trying to build a distillery and distill something. Those guys, they're not as, there's a lot of barriers to entry, and it's a challenging transition. And so for us to actually go through this transition and then come out with a product that actually doesn't match our original recipe, that was a really, really risky thing to do.
Well, I mean, it's like, hell, we've got a business established and we're going to just change everything up. Like, did you just crush everything that you had built? Did you kill the foundation? And,
right.
and
yeah.
Not to plug you. I mean, this is true. I mean, I'm drinking it right now. And to be honest, I hadn't tried the new label until about 3 months ago. And I stopped at a little liquor store in Knoxville heading to some family's house. And I don't know what I bought. I think I bought a bottle of Willet and something else, that we just don't get good allocation down here. And the guy behind the counter, he's like, "Hey, have you tried the new 111?" And I'm like, "I haven't." I'm like, I tried some of the previous stuff and it was okay, right? But there's other stuff that I like better. And I tried the 111, and that's pretty much when I reached out and said, "Hey, like, you want to come on the show?" Because again, to your point, I mean, you take something it's working. But I guess the right way to say it is, do we think it can be better? Do you think we can make it better? Yeah. And hands down, I mean, this is, I'm not kissing your ass because we're looking at each other. I mean, this is no kidding. I mean, the juice that I'm drinking now, if you put the two side by side, I don't think anyone, in a blind tasting, no one would even consider that they came from, a same or similar label.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you saying that. Here's how it happened. So when we were building the Chattanooga Whiskey Experimental Distillery, which is, was established in 2015, in 2014, at the end of 2014, we hired our head distiller, Grant. And when Grant came on, Grant and I had a discussion about, do we want to, start laying down the same recipe as 1816? Which was 75% corn, 21% rye, and 4% malted barley. We bought 1816 when it was when we originally sourced it, it was 3.5 years old, and by the time we finished selling it, it was 10 years old. Right. Actually, 11 years old if you include some single barrels that we came out with. So that the whole do we leave it in the dust conversation? I mean, we never Chattanooga whiskey wouldn't be here today without its history.
Sure.
So therefore, we want to find ways to continue to honor that history. And so Grant and I, our philosophies kind of aligned when it was like, all right, we're here because of the Vote Whiskey campaign, and we want to continue to trailblaze, but we also want to continue to honor. And so how do we incorporate that into what Chattanooga whiskey will become when we grow up as a product? Because we've always been outsourcing.
Yeah.
And this is where I think, most distilleries, it's a pretty safe thing to do, or safe bet to say, all right, well, we've already got this thing that's working, so we're going to continue to do it. I say pretty safe. It's not completely safe, only because every distillation system creates its own unique taste profile. You can't take the same recipe up in Indiana and produce the same recipe down in Southeast Tennessee and make it taste exactly the same. It won't.
Right.
Take, but it'll be like, it'll have some similarities. So for us, we're like, all right, let's use the Chattanooga Whiskey Experimental Distillery, 100-gallon pot still, 100-gallon fermenters, 100-gallon cooker. It's a very small system, relatively speaking. And let's push the envelope. And that's where Grant brought his expertise in specialty malts. And that's where he brought his expertise in long cold fermentations and utilizing lots of different types of yeast and different barrel finishes from his brewing days, and incorporating that into straight bourbon whiskey, but not just like, okay, this is going to be our recipe. Instead, from 2015 until 2017, every single week, we were exploring a new recipe. And that is where we really got risky, because it wasn't like, okay, we're going to in the first, cause I mean, think about it. Like, we had just started distilling. We didn't have anything in barrels. So it's not like, it's not like in the first month.
Yeah. We have no revenue.
Yeah,
or anything to generate revenue.
There's that. And it's not like, and it's also not like in the first month that we've got all this like White Dog whiskey and these like barrels that have been sitting in barrels for a few days.
Sure.
Like, all of a sudden we're going to know what our new recipe is going to be. We knew it was going to take years.
Right.
So once we started down that path, we were like, all right, like, we have picked this path and there is no backing out. And so we just had to trust our gut, trust our instincts, and go with it. So all of a sudden, we get 2 years down the road, and we built, a year down the road, and then we were like, all right, we're going to do something way, way bigger. So that's when we built a distillery that was like 50 times the capacity of the experimental distillery. It's one of the larger distilleries, craft distilleries in the country, and that's the Riverfront location. And it's a mile from experimental. But when we started building Riverfront, we did not have a recipe that was going to be our flagship recipe. So
sounds like a great plan.
Yeah, no, that's the thing you need to know about Chattanooga whiskey. We just fly by the seat of our pants, but we have a strategy somewhere buried in there. You just have to find it. So we build it. And here's the thing: like, in our gut, we knew this was going to be bigger because, well, we just knew. So we built the Riverfront Distillery. And literally, I mean, this is not like, I didn't come from money. This isn't like a family money thing. I mean, this is, we have, a community of people, and we have our community of investors that are totally bought into Chattanooga whiskey and our vision. And it was about our vision. It was about making it bigger we knew it would be bigger than it was. So yeah, we invested in this multi-million-dollar distillery on the Riverfront, knowing that at some point, we would go back to our inventory of experimental bourbons and choose a flagship to replace 1816, which, by the way, was the whiskey that changed century-old laws, and it was the whiskey that we had built a brand off of from 2011 up until 2017 when we built this distillery, and we were going to change it all. So we went back, and we have a barrel cellar. I guess you've been to. Did you see the barrel cellar when you went to the experimental distillery?
So is that like you go in and you've got the bar, and then you go to the back and down the stairs?
Yes.
Okay. Yep.
Yep. So underground, you got the barrel cellar. We store about 200 plus experimental barrels down there. And at this time, when we built Riverfront, we had, after 2 years of experimental distilling, we had about 120 experimental bourbons, all that were high malt. And during this time, because we had so many specialty malts, we utilized over 100 different specialty malts in over 100 barrels and over 30 different types of yeasts. Wow. All long cold fermentations, different types of toasts and chars on the barrels. To our knowledge, this had never been done before. And so we coined and trademarked Tennessee high malt during that time, because this was not a traditional Tennessee whiskey. It was a straight bourbon whiskey, but it's obviously not a Kentucky bourbon whiskey.
Sure.
We weren't doing the Lincoln County process, the charcoal filtration. We weren't doing that. So we really created our own thing, but it was within the honor of bourbon whiskey from the Southeast, from Tennessee, and so we coined and trademarked Tennessee high malt. So at 2017, we established the Riverfront Distillery, and we have 120 barrels of Chattanooga whiskey within the Tennessee high malt, framework that we had built. And that's when we selected our favorite barrel to replace the 1816 flagship, and that was barrel number 91. It was the 91st barrel distilled at the Chattanooga Whiskey Experimental Distillery. So.
Nice. Very cool.
Nice. Yeah, I think it's awesome, man, the way, and we'll talk about the 111 in a minute, but I think it's cool the way, kind of the labeling, the proof speaks for the label or the brand, if you will, right? I mean, I think that's a really awesome, play. I don't know if that was the intent or if it just worked out that way. But either way, I mean, it's not rhetorical, right?
No, I mean, it was definitely, we felt like, we have a history of numbers, right? I mean, like 1816
right.
is obviously, we try to have deeper meaning behind everything that we do. And so we had 1816 that was really all about the history of whiskey in Chattanooga and the history of Chattanooga. But now it's really about Tennessee high malt, and it's about honoring Tennessee high malt, and it's about honoring that path to barrel number 91. And because it was the 91st barrel, it gave us 91 proof. What a great proof to come out with.
Right.
It just totally. We did not choose the 91st barrel because we wanted to have a 91 proof bourbon. We chose the 91st barrel because we felt like it best represented both our history and our future, and from a flavor profile perspective. And so we called it Chattanooga Whiskey 91.
Yeah, speaking of flavor profile, so I'll brag on the 91 for a minute. So like on the nose, I mean, I'm getting brown sugar just all day long. I mean, I think it's absolutely fantastic. It is not overly sweet from a brown sugar perspective. But yeah, I mean, this thing, it's like, you can see I've already made it through this first pour almost. I can't stop once I start, but it's, I'm thinking about the Greene County Fair and those caramel Granny Smith apples. And it's like I'm eating one, man. I mean, it is, this thing is kind of blowing me away. I mean, it is really good. I mean, that butter, got some kind of buttered popcorn in here. I mean, this is, what is this, like $35 a bottle? I mean, for a sub $35 bottle that you can find. And so you're in, how many states are you in now? Like 7?
Actually, so we just launched 11 and 12.
Oh, cool.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So primarily the Southeast, I guess?
We focus on the Southeast, although where we've gotten out of the Southeast is Texas, which is pretty close. And then Colorado, and our first 2 Midwestern states are Illinois and Ohio.
Oh, cool.
Okay, yeah. Well, so it makes sense, yeah. But yeah, this is a bottle that I would absolutely say, pick this up. You're not going to be disappointed. And if for some strange reason you are,
here we go.
message me, and I'll buy it back from you. Right. So yeah, this is great juice, man.
Very, very light smokiness to you, Cal, you said. Fantastic. I'm getting a little of the apple, like you said, and a lot of caramel as well.
Yeah,
this is the smokiness. So it's kind of funny. We, even though there's a lot of confusion sometimes around the word malt. and that is where we have we have a lot of consumer education around Tennessee high malt and the meaning of it.
Cool.
And in having to educate that it is a straight bourbon whiskey by definition. And while we do have recipes that we utilize smoked malt, we actually don't have any smoked malt in these recipes. But it doesn't mean that you necessarily won't have like hints of bacon or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So when we're doing single barrel selections, or we're just running through our barrels, like you'll just randomly get these, like we call them bacon barrels, because you'll just get this like smoked bacon out of these random barrels that are the same recipes. And those are the things that we love about Tennessee high malt and what we do is, so specialty malts, the utilization of specialty malts is, it's critical to the flavor, but it's only one flavor component. It is the foundation of what we do. And the whole, specialty malted grains being greater than 25% of the recipe, it's a 4-grain bourbon. And of the 4 grains, 3 of those grains are specialty malts. It's got malted rye, caramel malted barley, and honey malted barley in it, with of course with a foundation of corn.
Hey, so hey, can I jump in for a sec? So you mentioned that technically it is a straight bourbon whiskey, and that is, and you may have been going there. Sorry if I'm getting ahead of us, but
no, fine.
That is that's due to the 51% corn mash bill, correct?
That is correct. Yes.
Okay. Just making sure. And then where you're going, or where I hope you're going, is so the old 4-grain story, right? I would say that the larger scale producers kind of got away from the 4-grain, right? And I mean, I don't know if you can see, but I've got some stuff. I mean, I'm blending my own 4 grains, right, with other labels, so I'm kind of making my own poor man 4-grain stuff back here. I don't have to do. I didn't realize I don't have to do that anymore. So both expressions are 4-grain, and you're sharing a little. I'd like for you to unpack or share a little bit more about. So why did you elect to go 4-grain? I'm thinking that's going to be a Tim and a Grant partnership, and we wanted to venture down that road. But why did you elect to do it? And then I don't know if you want to share or not, but why are other distillers shying away from it, or why did they move away from it? If that's a fair question.
Yeah, no, for us, it was about complexity and flavor, and about how we get more complexity and flavor. And from us, and it was about, utilizing complementary grains, and like I said, I mean, we went through over 100. We have over 100. I mean, in the first 2 years, now we have over 300, because we've never stopped experimental distilling. But at the time, we had over 100 barrels with utilizing over 100 different specialty malts, and and not everything was 4-grain. We had 3 grains in there too. We had 5 grains in there. We had 6 grains in there, and we had stuff like we had everything you could imagine. It was about really exploring what specialty malted grains can do, what kind of impact they can have on bourbon. And by bourbon, I do mean distilled at less than 160 proof, greater than 51% corn, barreled at less than 125 proof, aged for greater than 2 years in new American white oak, and bottled at more than 80 proof, right? So those are all the things you need to do to make straight bourbon whiskey. So we did all those things, but then we explored what specialty malted grains will do to a straight bourbon whiskey. Sure. And it just, in our flagship recipe is a 4-grain. Actually, many of our recipes are 4 grains. And like I said, it's about complexity and it's about flavor. Can you have a recipe that you can screw up, and that you can, that after you can age for a couple of years and then pull it out of the barrel and go, man, this just isn't very good, or maybe it's just bad? Yes, it is possible to do. Does it happen often? No, it doesn't. Chattanooga whiskey now, if we had this conversation 2 years ago, I couldn't tell you as much as I can tell you today, or that I wouldn't have seen as much as I've seen today, because a lot of those products have come of age, right? I mean, a lot of them. So I've now seen hundreds of different recipes utilizing specialty malts, and hundreds of different recipes that were 4 grains come of age. And I can tell you what will happen to them. There's still a lot of factors. The environment is a big, the environment that they're aged in is a big factor. The stills that they're produced on is a big factor, right? How, it's just, there's just so many factors. But for us, we really wanted we wanted more complexity. We wanted more flavor. And that's, and then this recipe just stood out to us because here's the thing. Would we have gone from 1816 to an actually a smoked bourbon or a smoked specialty malt product? No, because it would have alienated all of our consumers.
Oh, I mean, I mean, it's like you are starting over at consumer one at that point.
And our mission was like, all right, we're definitely going to change this up to be our own, but let's see how many of our consumers we can actually hold on to. Because we built 1816 up to a multi-thousand case brand. So to just shit on that, for lack of better verbiage, we didn't want to do that. But I will tell you this: I was kind of like, you know what? If we hold on to more than 50% of our consumer base, like I'll call that a win. But I bet you we held on to more than 90%.
That's great.
And what we built on top of that.
Well, and I was about to say, you gained a hell of a lot more than you even thought about losing, man. I can't say enough. And I don't even know if you can find 1864 on a shelf anymore. I haven't seen any anyway. So
we retired it. And it took probably a solid, in some markets it was gone in weeks, and in some markets it took close to a year. It just depends on where it was.
Yeah.
But it's gone now. And it's pretty much, I mean, I don't know. I doubt there's any liquor stores that have any 1816 anymore, but 91 and 111 they're a different breed, man. They're a different beast. And I can tell you that now. So we launched 91 and 111 in August of 2019. And that's when we officially retired 1816. And so now they've been on the shelf for more than a year. And I'm so glad we did it. I mean, I'm so glad. I look back and I go, all the risks that we took have been worth it. And we've obviously launched new markets since then, but even in our existing markets, there's just no comparison. It's our own unique product, and it's beating the pants off of 1816 in terms of volume. So
yeah,
that's
well,
great,
we've kind of gone through the beginning of the story, and I'm sure that anytime anybody asks you to come on, it's like, holy shit, I got to go through this again. So sorry to put you through that,
man,
but not well. I can tell. I mean, that's what I was going to say. I mean, I can hear and I can see. Right, for those of you just listening, so we're recording via Zoom, and this will be out on YouTube as well. But I mean, I can see it in your mannerisms. I can hear it in your voice, and I mean, it is. It's really great to hear that someone's passionate about a business. Obviously, it is just that it's a business, so you have to make a buck. There's investors. I mean, there's everybody's looking for a return, no doubt.
Hey, sorry, quick question. What's a buck?
Exactly. Several of those, right?
Yeah.
So.
No, I wish. No.
Oh, you haven't seen that yet.
Oh no. What is a buck? That's not what I'm not saying 2 or 3. I'm saying what is one.
Oh, what's one? I say. So what you're saying? You're saying the liquor business isn't that profitable yet, hey?
Well, it's in some ways it is, but it's really it is a and now we're getting into being an entrepreneur, but the liquor, actually not the liquor business, but particularly whiskey, particularly bourbon, particularly what what you want to get out of your bourbon. It is a fine wine, man, and it is about what you put into it. And this is one of the things. Again, I don't want to get on a rabbit trail here, but I will say this: there are a lot of people in the liquor business that they want to see a profit day one. And there are ways to do that. And a lot of it is about just producing things that, you don't have to put that much into. But as you guys know with bourbon, it is about the long game. It's not about the short game. And this is obviously no pun here in terms of birdies and bourbon, but it is about the long game.
Yeah.
And it is about what you put into it along that road. And Chattanooga whiskey, in terms of any craft distillery in the world, Chattanooga whiskey has put more, has committed more into this, into just Chattanooga whiskey and not anything else. And in terms of just what is Tennessee High Malt and making Tennessee High Malt great and nothing else. And then I would say any other distillery that I can think of. And so, so when you do that, and for the first few years, you don't see a great return, but culturally and from a product perspective and long term, we're betting on the come. We know it's going to be great. So.
Yeah, that's great. And it's I don't know, Dan. You want to? I saw you sneaking a pour of that 111 over there, so I thought I'd go ahead. I thought I'd go ahead and do it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we getting a good sniff here. Yeah. Yeah.
So the 91 again. I mean that's a buy for me all day long. At the again sub 35. I mean that's like why not?
Well, that and the value is so. Did you see the Whiskey to the People mural when you were at the experimental distillery?
I don't think it was there yet. Okay, or maybe I just had too much.
That's fine too. We have a big mural in there that says Whiskey to the People on it. And when the Vote Whiskey campaign was successful and we changed those laws, we built this mural that says Whiskey to the People, and that became our slogan. And the reason it was Whiskey to the People is because it was the power of the whiskey that brought whiskey back. It was the power of the people that brought whiskey back to the community of Chattanooga for the first time in 100 years.
I hope you have that on T-shirts.
We do. Actually.
Okay. All right.
And but now once we put this effort into this product, and it's not just about being 4 grain, right? I mean, it's 4 grain, it's 3 malt, it's long cold fermentations, it's it's Solera barrel finished, it's different toasts and chars in the barrels. There's many flavor drivers that require additional resources, more time, more effort, and they're all they all have huge flavor impacts. And we go through this and we, every component is really, really important, but it all costs money and it all takes time and it all requires passion. And so to do all these things and then sell it at a sub $35 price point, to us, that is the definition of whiskey to the people. Yeah. Because I know you guys know about the secondary market, and you know about all these things, all these products that at one point in time were $35 and $40, and now they're $235 and $240.
If you're lucky.
If you're lucky, and to us, like that's not sustainable, and that's not whiskey to the people.
Well, it's bullshit, right? It's complete and utter bullshit. I mean, how in the world do you expect me to go pay, $500, $600, $700 for a bottle of liquor, invite the boys over, and it's like, hey man, I'm bringing this to the golf course. We're going to crack it open, and we're going to have a good time. It's like, no, hell no, it ain't going to happen. Right. And it's so ridiculous. So once again, I mean, I just think from a not from a philanthropic standpoint, but just from a cultural standpoint of in the way I view drinking spirits, right? Or I mean, it could be a Yellow Jacket, it could be PBR, it could be a Pliny, or you just run through the gamut. And if I sit around and drink alone, I mean, I'm an alcoholic. If I invite everybody over and share, hell, I'm a damn good time, right? So I mean, it's the spirit and the nature of what alcohol just brings to humankind, just the gregariousness of, hey, let's drink, let's feel good, and let's enjoy it. And when you watch your buddy turn up the the $700 Pappy into the Solo Cup, it's like that my good time is dead. I can't have a good time after that.
Yeah, man. Hey, we won't give you a $700 bottle to do that with. So.
Understood.
Yeah,
Understood.
I mean, we range between 30 and and usually between 30 and 70. occasionally we might have a super special release that might push $100, but we really take pride. I mean, even 111 is a sub $50 price point, and it's an unfiltered cask strength bourbon, and there's just not a lot of that out there. So
so we just poured the 111, and so just my flavor, my palate and flavor profile, the 111 is kind of getting me where I need to be. Again, the 91's fantastic. Hey, I'm not really a bourbon person. It's like, okay, 91, here you go.
Look, now here's the thing. We priced 91 up against Woodford Reserve, Knob Creek, Elijah Craig, Four Roses small batch. And, I mean, obviously like Makers and Buffalo Trace are a little less expensive than that, but that's where we priced it. That's where we expect it to live. And from a flavor profile perspective, look, all those bourbons I just mentioned, like they're premium, but they're super approachable and they're easy drinking, right? They're meant for the people that are. You have some bourbon consumers in there that are, or I almost said aficionados, but I don't know if aficionados are, I mean, there are some, it depends on what you like, right? I mean, it all depends on what you like, but it's kind of like that price point is a bridge, right?
Yeah.
It's a bridge. Right. It's a bridge between people that don't know what they're drinking and people that do know what they're drinking, right? And 91 was designed for that bridge, but it was designed to give that bridge more personality.
Yeah.
And that is what we went after. So when you blind taste 91 up against all those products that are, I'm pretty sure all of them are 90 proof, by the way. I mean, close.
Close enough.
Yeah. Between 90 and 100.
Yep.
When you blind taste 91, you're going to go, damn, this product is actually really different. And when you go back to it, you're going to be like, you know what? It's a kind of different that I think I might like. And that is our approach.
Yeah.
So if you want to drink it, and if you're going out to the lake or you're going out to the golf course and it's 95 degrees outside and you want to mix a whiskey ginger, Chattanooga Whiskey 91 is a great product to do that with. But if you want to sip it neat, it's a great product to do that with too. Obviously, 111 is $10 more expensive and is geared more towards your bourbon consumers.
Yeah, I can taste it. This one here, the 111, is fantastic. Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of the crowd favorites within our organization.
So I'm hung up on just our Tennessee connection here. I'm hung up on the Greene County Fair still, and it's so I was referencing kind of the caramel green Granny Smith apple. This one to me is the red delicious apples. So if the red, the candied red on there, if it was a cinnamon red, that's what I'm getting out of this one. Kind of all the way through, but I'm getting kind of that candied cinnamon red apple. But yeah, I mean, it's got a little more heat.
Yeah.
It is not hey, I need a chaser with this kind of heat.
Yeah.
But I can tell that it's got a little more punch to it than the 91. I mean, if it, side by side, I would know that. But it's not like, I'm kind of having to step away from it. On the nose, this neat glass isn't hurting, by the way, but on the nose, I don't have to pull away at all. And I could kind of just chug this stuff.
So the 111, the 111 proof is, so we barrel at 115, which is a lower proof than I think your average bourbon company. So we barrel at 115, and you never really know what's going to happen to the proof after it's been aging, because sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down, right? It really just depends on the environment that it's in, the temperature and the humidity. So 111 was a proof that we felt like we could consistently hit. It also happens to be the highway that connects Chattanooga to our corn farm in Middle Tennessee, which was just ironic. Like it just happened, it was barrel 91. I wasn't like rolling up Highway 111 and being like, "We're going to call this 111." I was rolling up 111. I was like, "Holy shit, this is 111!" So the 111 is a proof that, look, you guys know this. There's a lot of cask strength bourbons, and there's a few unfiltered bourbons out there that are north of 120. or even 130, right? And that just kind of gets silly. Like we have some single barrels that are pushing 124, 125. Actually, hold on, what am I drinking right here? This is 126.2. Mm-hmm. So here, you guys can actually, I don't know if you can see.
Mm-hmm. Experimental single barrel. While you're holding that, it's a white label. Is this on the shelf, by the way?
We do have a new one on the shelf. That's a new number. I think it's 101. But single barrel 78, which was the 78th barrel distilled at the experimental distillery, it's sold out. All these sell out in about, within the week.
Okay, you heard it here first. So this this is a podcast, Birdies and Bourbon, but so it's like that show where they have those myths and they go around trying to debunk them. So we have debunked the numbering statement. Every number is in correlation to the barrel, but it is not relative to the proof.
In Chattanooga whiskeys, yeah. If for a Chattanooga whiskey, then yes, it is.
Yeah, right.
It's in correlation to the barrel. Although 111, there was no one. I mean, there is a 111th barrel, but that's not what you're drinking. 111 is just the big brother to 91.
Yeah, I got you. Okay.
The 111 is actually the same recipe as 91. It's just unfiltered and a single fermentation.
Got it. Okay.
So, other than that. Well, and our rye malt that we just released is 99 rye malt, and there is a 99 barrel, but it wasn't a rye malt.
Okay,
we chose 99 because 99 was an approachable but a higher proof rye, so it created some nice viscosity. It was kind of an in between 91 and 111 to sit on the shelf.
Yep.
But anything that comes out of the experimental distillery, yes, the number is related to the barrel.
Oh, the number is the barrel.
The number is the barrel for any single barrel coming out of the experimental distillery.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's a batch. We also have batches. Like we just released batch 15, which is a high proof coffee liqueur. And it was made up of 3 high malt bourbon barrels that were coffee infused later.
Gotcha.
Oh, they also utilize coffee specialty malt in the original recipe. So it was designed to be a coffee bourbon, but then we decided to turn that coffee bourbon into a coffee liqueur by filtering it through actual coffee.
Yeah, nice.
That's cool.
Are these so these are all white oak barrels?
Yeah,
I believe you said. I want to talk about the char, and I know we don't want to keep you all night. Thanks for sharing so much time with us. So a quick one. This can be a yes or no, or you can expand. Are you experimenting with any rum barrels, port barrels? Are you down that road yet? In the future, you don't want to touch it, or what's going on there?
So batch 14 was a rum finished bourbon. And it utilized 2 different rum barrels, and then we have a barrel finishing series coming out. That's going to be a permanent line extension to 91 and 111 and 99 rye malt. And our first release in the barrel finishing series is a tawny port finish.
Oh, nice.
Oh, cool.
Okay. Yeah, looking forward to. So I'm going to need. I shouldn't say it like that. Can I get a date, a time, a key, a glass, and a thief?
All you got to do is come on up, man. That's it. You're a stone's throw from me. I mean,
this is being recorded, by the way.
That's fine. Just come up.
And let's go. We need to get to Macklemore for a round of golf.
Yeah. Hey, we've got some connections there. I just played Macklemore for the first time.
So I haven't played it yet. I was supposed to play it, I don't know, maybe a month or so ago. And I don't know. I'm getting older. So, it's like I woke up one morning and like the next day I was supposed to go play Macklemore. And this is like a week before they get released as the best finishing hole in the I think it's in the U.S., right, by Golf Digest, whichever magazine it is.
I think it's Golf Digest.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay. So I write them, and they say, oh yeah, we'd love to have you come up and do a review. And we usually have the club pro come on, and I mean it's a lot of fun, right? So the day before, I wake up feeling good. I'm like average hungover, nothing bad. Didn't do anything bad the night before. And like 2 hours later, I'm like, man, my shoulder hurts. And then 2 hours later, I'm like, holy shit, I'm not going to be able to play golf tomorrow. So anyway, so I had to postpone. So I've still got I've got an open spot there. Hopefully they don't think I've, like shit on them and been like, hey, I want to play your course.
It's all good if that's the case, because we've got the connection. So we can.
Okay. So yeah, because we'd love to get them on the show and review that course. Anyway, what'd you shoot, by the way?
At Macklemore,
you don't have to say.
It was a golf tournament. So, and it was
okay.
It was a charity. So
27 under.
So no, we had, so in our foursome, it was my sales director and I. We have two sales. We have one that's based in Atlanta that covers the South, and we have one that's based in Chattanooga that covers north of Chattanooga. Got it. And we play golf together pretty often. And so this was my Atlanta sales director, and he's an average golfer, but he's a good athlete. So and then you've got my chief operating officer, which if he was on here, I would rag on him. So I'm not saying anything that he wouldn't be okay with. But
no. Well, we need that stuff. That's the material we want.
He's a terrible golfer. And then we invited a customer up from Atlanta who wasn't a great golfer. So, anyways, all that to say, we finished 1 under.
Oh, okay. So, needless to say, you didn't win the tournament.
1 under in a scramble is pretty awful. So, I think we got the participation award.
So you shot 17 pars and 1 birdie.
Yeah. So, anyways, I felt pretty good about my golf game that day. But otherwise, no, it was pretty bad for a scramble.
Yeah, that place looks like it is just absolutely amazing, man.
It's really cool, man. So I didn't really know what to expect. It's been around for a while. I remember when it was before Macklemore, and then Macklemore bought it. And my brother is a big golfer, and I've played with him a bunch, but not as much as he has played. And he was always trying to get me up there. And so, anyways, I was surprised at. It's actually a pretty convenient. It's 40 minutes from Chattanooga, but it's still a convenient drive from Chattanooga. It's down like a really nice country road, and then up the side of Lookout Mountain. And it's literally, you make like 2 turns and you're there. So it's really easy to get to.
Nice.
And I'll say this. I'll go on record saying this. The finishing hole is worth the drive from anywhere.
Yeah,
it's absolutely beautiful. And
so when you're on the tee box, you're not standing there going like, why in the hell did this get voted the best finishing out of all the courses in the U.S.? It's like, no, I know exactly why.
No, it's a holy shit finishing hole.
Yeah, awesome.
It really is. And it's got quite a few like par 4s and 5s where you have to carry it, well, maybe not 200, but you got to carry it like at least 150, maybe 175, 80 to get it into the fairway, which is pretty fun.
Yeah, nice. All right, so we've digressed from our whiskey talks. We do get some feedback from time to time to people that are like, hey, I really like the whiskey stuff, but I don't like the golf stuff. And then all the golfers are like, shit, we like everything. Keep it up. So,
right on. Well, I can definitely talk more about whiskey than I can talk about golf, although I do.
Yeah, that's me. I mean, it's just because that Dan doesn't drink or play golf. And I'm not good at either one. So,
So our sales director in Atlanta, his name is Dan as well, and he is doing a tasting at a golf tournament in Atlanta as we speak. At
which course?
Is it Hawks Ridge?
Oh, Hawks Ridge. Yeah, sure. Yeah. That's shit.
Isn't that the home of John Smoltz?
I believe it is. Yeah. He's probably.
I know. I think he's a member there, but he was at the golf tournament last year. So
yeah, he's probably drinking with Smoltzy. Yeah,
I like it.
He's a good golfer.
So this 111, I don't know if we reviewed it or not. I've been so sidetracked. I
told him it was fantastic. That's what I said.
I get excited talking about this stuff. So we talked a lot about the malts, and so in the 111 again, Yeah, we did. So I'd mentioned the caramel apple, but I'm revisiting this one, and still, man, I'm getting that just awesome punch of that. It's not caramel yet, but that brown sugar, like it's on the verge of becoming, and it's kind of like it's giving me that taste. And it's like, there's more. Just keep tasting and you're going to keep getting more out of it, man. I mean, it is really fantastic.
That's what we like about like when you taste it up against anything else, is that when you revisit Chattanooga whiskey, particularly 111, when you revisit 111, you do get something different. And you don't get something different on a lot of other bourbons. So when you go back, I've talked to a lot of people that have said, man, the first time I had 111, I just wasn't sure what to think. Like, it just is that different compared to what I'm normally drinking. And then I went back to it and I liked it a little more. And then I went back to it again and it eventually became my favorite. Yeah. And that's what we love to hear. It's like, all right, like we are hopefully giving people more to think about in terms of, I don't want to like compare it to IPAs, but when IPAs,
that's absolutely fair.
Yeah, people are kind of like, I'm not like IPA, like I'm not really sure. There's so much flavor in here, and I'm not really sure to think about it. But eventually, IPAs became the rage, right? So I'm not saying that that's necessarily exactly like Chattanooga whiskey, but you can draw.
On this one, I'm getting like that kind of charcuterie board at this point of like that smoked meat kind of thing. I'm getting it on the finish. But it's not, people are thinking you're drinking smoke. It's like, no, it's not, but you're just getting that smoky. And this is one of Dan's favorites that he's always liked to pull. I can't believe he hasn't said it yet. It's probably because I won't shut up. But that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here. I'm getting some coconut.
Coconut's a very popular, it's actually a really popular tasting note. And all
right. So, and I know if you got to go, I know we're kind of coming up on the hour. We can wrap up. But if you're good,
we've had more time so far with kids not screaming than kids screaming. So let's keep. We've got a good streak going.
Well, it's funny enough when I heard the sirens in the background earlier, and I'm like, oh, they're finally coming to help that poor kid out that's getting beat out.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I actually texted my wife about 15 minutes in, and I was like, please help.
It's good.
She came to the rescue. So.
Awesome. Because we've been watching the entire time. We did not see you texting. So that's
good. Cheers to the wife.
Absolutely.
So I want to again. We don't want to. We know your time's valuable, but I want to talk a little bit. So, and you mentioned it earlier, right? And you've got. I'm going to hold this up just so if you're looking, if you're watching, at least they send out. And by the way, your little, I shouldn't say little, your the gift package, the people that I communicated with via email and on Instagram at your place was awesome. The package that you sent to us was, we're very appreciative. It will not go to waste except for that little drip that I spilled on there. But you've kind of got the little setup, and I'm imagining that this is probably if we do a distillery tour or you come in, maybe this is something you get, or it's kind of on a wall or something like that. It's just a little one pager. But, you talked about all the touch points you have. And as I'm looking through this, and it's no secret, right? Making any alcohol, you've got a lot of touch points. And that's from planting the seeds to actually, the retail store when the person, well, even at your house when you're drinking it after you've gone through ever how many steps. But you've got a lot of things that you do. And there's two things, the 4-grain thing, I love it. I think it's awesome. But there's two things that you do, I think, that are unique to Chattanooga whiskey. I think it happens on everything you do. I don't know, but that's my question. So one is there's a 2-barrel step process. Yep. And it's different chars. So I want to get into that a little bit if that's fair. And then I want to talk about the Solera barrel finishing, which is, again, that's something that there's a couple of names I could drop. You see it in a bottle or two, but I think this is something that's pretty unique to you guys.
Yeah, so we do use 2 different types of chars and toasts, and that's a big deal. Most don't. Most only use one type char. The reason we do that is because for 91, they come together in the Solera barrel, and they commingle there. And
can you give us like a 50,000 foot Solera barrel?
Yeah. Solera barrel is a finishing barrel that after the product is fully matured in a 53-gallon barrel, the product commingles basically for life. I mean, you have you bottle out of the Solera barrel, but our Solera barrel holds nearly 100 53-gallon barrels worth. And when we bottle, we only bottle about 10 barrels out of it at a time, and then we load 10 barrels back in. So once a barrel goes in after it's fully matured, you cannot perfectly extract that barrel out of the Solera barrel. Therefore, it's always leaving elements behind for the next barrels to pick up.
So you've got the biggest damn infinity bottle in the U.S.
Yes, basically we do. That's true. We don't advertise it as that, but that's pretty
understood.
That's pretty accurate. So that's the beauty of the Solera barrel in 91. And when you have a 4-char, the 4-chars are very traditional, or not very traditional. They're more traditional tasting. They have more like oaky notes to them, and the 3-chars with our own custom toast profile have more of a confectionery note. And the flavor profile is probably 20 to 30% different after it's aged between a 4-char and a 3-char with a toast. So you're talking about significant flavor difference, significant flavor impact. So to bring those together in the Solera barrel is a really special process, and it really enhances the flavor and the complexity of the product. And the same thing for 111. 111 is a 50-50. It's when we have 3,000 gallon fermenters at Riverfront, and a 3,000 gallon fermenter, once it is distilled, it yields about 8 to 10 barrels of whiskey. So we're going to take 50% of that distillate. It's going to go into a 3-char with a toast. The other 50% is going to go into a 4-char. They're going to go away to age. They're going to age for a minimum of 2 years, many greater than that. And then they're going to come to get 91 is going to come together 50-50, 4-char and 3-char come together in the Solera barrel. And then 111, they're going to come together in the bottling process. They don't go through the Solera barrel, but they come together in the bottling process. So when you bring those two flavors together that are 20 to 30% different, it just creates more complexity and additional flavors. So,
yeah, no, fair. Yeah, great explanation. And yeah, it's that's probably for a different podcast. I could go. I am blending these, by the way.
No, man, that's called the Dad's blend, by the way.
But I'm sorry. Could you say that one more time?
The blend of 91 and 111. It's called the Dad's blend.
Dad's blend. Okay.
Nice.
And is that because that's what your dad does, or?
No, it's because John Edwards from Dad's Drinking Bourbon put them together and said, man, you got to try 191 and 111 together. And on one of his episodes, he called it the Dad's blend.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
All right. Yeah. Well, so we're having the Dad's blend. Cheers to John, or I am at least. I can't resist, man. I mean, I'm always follow some guys. They do some tastings and Sunday night fights and things like that. And, it's always awesome to see people review and, drinking different stuff. But this is great fucking juice, man. I mean, in
theory, the 91 and 111 Dad's blend is 101 in theory. But you got to have a pretty accurate 50-50 blend in order to make that.
Yeah, I just eyeballed it. So, but even together, I mean, this is like, I'm thinking like, I won't get into mentioning names and stuff, but some of the more. I'll
say the brown sugar note that you're talking about.
Yeah.
That's so a lot of people equate 91 and 111, particularly 111, just because it's unfiltered cask strength and the viscosity is there. They equate it to s'mores or graham cracker. And the graham cracker note and s'more note does come from those specialty malts, because malting, you're taking that grain, you steep it in water, it begins to sprout, you air dry it, and then you kiln it, right? You floor dry it, and then you kiln it. In that kilning process, you're roasting it, you're toasting it, you're caramelizing it, you're smoking it, you're doing all kinds of you're creating these unique flavor profiles through the kilning process. And it's just opening that grain up and generating more flavor. And because they usually are deeper, darker notes, Chattanooga whiskey kind of becomes the dark chocolate to everybody else's milk chocolate.
So I hope this isn't the part where you hang up, because I've been having a great time. But so to your point, I mean, I absolutely agree. I mean, like I'm trying so hard to find like a pecan in here, and I can't find it yet. But I'm getting like everything about a pecan pie, except for the pecan. And I'm dying to find the friggin' like I want to go get a pecan and eat it just so I can drink this. And it's like I'm eating pecan pie, man. Like it's
fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's really good.
Awesome.
Really good.
Love it. I'm glad you like it.
Yeah. Well,
that's a win. If nothing else, the fact that you like it, that's all I care about.
Well, and I think we've got a round of golf. I mean, we haven't scheduled it yet, but I mean, we're good for a round of golf, right?
I'm good for a round of golf. If you guys want to come up and play, are we playing Macklemore together?
I hope so.
Yeah,
let's do it.
Well, I mean, why wouldn't we? I mean, I think that'd be well. So, what I'd really like to do, or what we'd like to do, is if we play Macklemore together, and we'll have an open spot. Unless I don't know the pro there, so I don't know if they would want to play with us or not. But I'm sure if we said, "Hey, we've got a fourth," so if there's someone from your side that would like to play with us, I'd say let's get someone on, and then when we do the review with the pro, we should, or it may not be the pro, but it'll be somebody from Macklemore, right? And we should get them some Chattanooga whiskey, and we should all kind of do some sipping. What would be really fun is if we could get some samples of like a new experiment barrel.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, we can do that.
And kind of go down like a different road, you know, which I mean, I know we're doing these because these are the foundations of Chattanooga whiskey. And you know, these are what you find on the shelf every day. It's not funky or weird. Even, I mean, those in positive ways, it's like these are daily drinkers and affordable. But if you've got some new stuff coming out or something kind of crazy,
we can always tap into something and have a good conversation over it.
Yeah,
we have lots of stuff when it comes to whiskey. So
now we will video you on the golf course, and it's probably going to be posted. So,
right.
But hey,
I'm not ashamed of my swing. It's fine.
Well, I was gonna say clothing optional. That's up to you.
I do have a reputation I have to keep somewhat, but don't tempt me.
Exactly.
And I played a great golf course in Atlanta last year.
What'd you play?
Peachtree.
The Peachtree City Club.
Yeah.
Down in like kind of downtown in Buckhead, right there.
The Peachtree Golf it's a Peachtree Country Club or whatever. The Peachtree Golf. I don't know. It's the same. It's like equivalent with Augusta. Maybe not quite, but close.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of which one that. I haven't had the pleasure of playing that one yet.
It's pretty sweet.
That's why I'm downplaying that, because we're definitely going to cut this clip out. We're going to send it to them. We're going to. This is what you get anytime anybody mentions the Peachtree Club.
There you go. Well, I got a T-shirt out of it. It's pretty sweet.
That's cool.
Yeah. So did you like that track? I've heard it's really tough.
Yeah. Well, so here's the deal. It was I busted my bicep on a golf course 2 years ago. And it was my first round back from that. And so it was my first round, and of course we had to walk. And the course is like 7,800 yards. So it was very challenging. I told myself, because I was like freshly recovered, I wanted to walk out of there with 6 pars, and I did, and that's all I cared about.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, I played Eastlake a few times, and the first time I played Eastlake, I don't know, it's been several years ago. I haven't played it much, maybe 5 or 6 times, but I parred number 1, and they don't let you, if you just show up, they don't let you play from the pro tees, right? I mean, it's like Disneyland, right? I mean, it's like hey, here's your tee box. Okay, here, sir. You know, and then you tee off. It's like, what tee boxes are we going to play today? It's like, no, I'm your guide for the day. You follow me. I have your balls and your clubs, right? So I parred the first hole, and this was when number 10 now was number 1. So it was the old new setup. Anyway. And I'm like going, well, shit. I mean, this isn't that hard. And then, good Lord, I don't know. I shot like a 92 or something. So, I mean, I just beat the brakes off of me. But, but no, I'm looking forward to getting up and playing with you. Dan, you've got, I know you got some questions.
Well, I was going to say, so if somebody's going to make a trip to your place, you talked about it. You got tons of restaurants. It sounds like it's an amazing town. I haven't been to that town, and I don't think I've ever been to the downtown to stay or do anything. So, what advice would you give to somebody coming into town to come, do some tasting at your place? Where would they stop to eat? With all that kind of stuff, like a diamond in the rough, anything like that?
Tim, Dan's in Raleigh, by the way. So just you're probably thinking that you're in Atlanta and you've never been to Chattanooga, but no, he's in Raleigh.
Yeah, I assumed he was not in Atlanta.
Yeah, right.
Raleigh. I've actually not spent any time in Raleigh, but I hear it's a super cool town.
Yeah, it is.
I'm sorry that you guys have the ABC. We're in other ABC markets, but North Carolina is the roughest of them all. So.
Oh boy,
isn't that a Charlie Daniels song?
We look forward to being there. But dealing with 160 beer boards is a challenge. So So here's the thing. Like I love putting an agenda together for people when they come here. But these are all like customers, right? So I got to be careful about who I call out and why. But there are some of my like personal favorites. There is and this place is just unique. But there was a butcher shop in the South Side, which is where I live, the South Side Historic District, and that's where our experimental whiskey distillery is. Mm-hmm. And it was a butcher shop, and they converted it to a restaurant and a bourbon bar, but it's still a butcher shop, and cool. It's called Main Street Meats, and it's small. I mean, they probably have like. They got to have less than like 50 seats. It's really,
how long have they been open? Because I don't ever remember being. I mean, it's a few years old, or is it like 10 years old?
It is not 10 years old. It is probably 5 years old. Okay, yeah. And it's absolutely outstanding. I mean, like the burger's incredible. The meats are any like you mentioned charcuterie board. It's got like an incredible charcuterie board. So I would definitely check that place out. But man, there are so many awesome restaurants and patios, and I mean, we have a distillery across the street from our Riverfront location called Parkway Poorhouse. That's a lot of fun, and I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot. We can, you know what? If you guys come, we'll try and hit them all.
There we go.
It's a very difficult challenge, and you might not make it home. There's some great boutique hotels. There's the Moxie, which is right downtown. There's the Edwin, which is at the walking. We have the country's longest pedestrian bridge called the Walnut Street Bridge. Mm-hmm. Edwin sits at the foot of the Walnut Street Bridge. It's a very boutique, very high-end, high-class boutique hotel with a really high-end bourbon bar in it called the Whiskey Thief.
Oh, cool.
There's the Chattanoogan that was just redone. There's a hotel that sits on the water. That's the Spring Hill Suites. That's right across from the Riverfront location. I mean, I don't know, man. I could go on and on. There's so many great experiences. And Chattanooga was voted the #1 outdoor town in America 2 years in a row by Outside Magazine.
Wow.
So if you want to get on the water, if you want to do,
you have a hot dog at the ballpark.
Yeah, man, you can do a hot dog at the ballpark. You can if you're a big mountain biker, this is a huge mountain biking town. So there's a lot of cool things to do here. Of course,
I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Sweetens Cove, just down the street, the world's best 9-hole golf course. Zamsky.
I've played Sweetens Cove probably 4 or 5 times, and it's a really cool course, man. I haven't played it in it's probably been at least 6 months, and I hear it's actually really hard to get onto right now. Okay, so let me cut to the chase on this one. So Birdies and Bourbon, we've got a what did he call it? I don't
Gardener.
know. We have a Guardian membership at Sweetens Cove.
All right.
So I'll get in touch with Zamsky. We're going to need a case of liquor, and I think we're going to solve all of your problems.
All right, cool.
and actually, you just took my Guardian membership. So what I'm saying is, if I call and say, "Hey, man, can I get on?" Like, I may need you to, help me out.
All right.
So sweet, and it is a plug for Sweetens, but it's not so much as it's a cool story. So if it's your first time at Sweetens, well, you've done it. You played there, right? If first time at Sweetens, you get a shot of liquor.
Yep.
So
in their clubhouse.
In their club. Hey, however, they did get air conditioner this year.
Yes.
So that was in the shed. Yeah, that was positive. Right. But yeah, man, we actually could do. We need to turn that into an event and get up there. And actually, Zamsky may want to go play Macklemore with us.
Adamski.
Yeah. That's what I meant.
Yeah, man. Well, you know what's cool about Macklemore is well, it's on Lookout and it's beautiful, and you got the cliff and all that stuff, and the brow. But they've got cabins there, I think, that you can rent, and the cabins are,
Oh yeah.
So it's like, I mean, it's like a vacation, right? So, but man, Sweetens Cove is a really cool course, beautiful layout, and you don't necessarily feel like you're in Tennessee either. I mean, you got the mountains around you, and you feel that, but like, with the amount of sand they have on that course, you do not.
Good God, isn't it amazing? I show up there, and so I took Adamski some of our home blend, and I'm like, "Hey, man, here's a bottle for you." He's like, "Okay," and he's like, "Let me put this back here." I'm like, "All right, I guess that's going with you. Where's our shots?" He's like, "Oh yeah, I'll be right back," which he does go and get us some. But yeah, what an awesome time, man. We've got 2 rounds of golf in our future, I hope so.
Sounds good.
Yeah, just bring your putting game for Sweetens Cove for anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Tim, do you have a favorite cocktail for any of your stuff? Any of your whiskeys, bourbons?
Man, there are obviously there's a lot of great bartenders out there that make a lot of really cool cocktails. Mm-hmm. For me, like I actually really like a smoky old fashioned, and but otherwise, like I'm either neat or I'm on the rocks, or again, if it's boating season, I'm all about a whiskey ginger. Mm-hmm. So I would say one of those 4.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, fair enough.
That sounds good.
I don't know. What do we leave out? What do we leave out until the next show, if it's appropriate?
I mean, I think coming up here and experiencing everything that we have is the highest priority. So you got to see. I mean, you've been through experimental, but we didn't have our experimental bourbons yet, or batches. You haven't seen Riverfront, and that's a really cool operation. We've every year we experience a lot of growth in a lot of different ways, and I would say that with exception of the pandemic, showing that off and having a good time with our bars and restaurants around Chattanooga, it's got
to feel good, man. I mean, like you're a vital part of the whiskey world now, but I mean, even more so, right? I mean, going more finite. I mean, a vital part of the Chattanooga heartbeat. I mean, that's got to feel really good, man, about where the position that you had, the chances that you took, the position that you put yourself in. And I don't even want to say the risks that you took of like totally maybe killing something that didn't even it's like, oh shit, all right, we're going down this road, just go as fast as you can, and it's going to work, right? Just trust me.
We did it all because we were pretty confident that it would work out.
Cool. Yeah.
But it's a cool community, and it's cool to be at the middle of it all and doing something different and making a name for the city. And but I mean, we're definitely all about what we're making, and experiencing it firsthand here is a different experience than experiencing it out there, and you get to you really realize what we've put into the whole mission. So
yeah. No, hey Tim, great story. I have enough whiskey in the glass that I can cheers with you, buddy. Thanks so much for coming on with Dan and I. It's been a pleasure. I hope everybody that's listening enjoys this chat. Thanks for being so upfront and, hey, here's what we got going on and here's what we do, man. I mean, there's nothing like genuine, and we really appreciate it, bud. Cheers.
Thanks, guys. Cheers. Appreciate it. It's fun hanging out. Look forward to hanging out in person someday.
Absolutely. Cheers.